It is time for Wellness Wednesday. It's Wally's World. It's also Scott Campsall's world, and both join me on the phone right now. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Do you mind if we call it Wally's World? I like that.
Sure.
Sure. Go with
it's not
it,
like
Dan.
I haven't heard it before.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's probably the first time anybody's ever used that one. But one thing that really has changed and not been used very often is this the virtual learning. And we talked a bit about this last time you were on. What I found shocking, well, I guess not shocking, but sad for a secondary school student these days is there are no more snow days because, hey, guys, you know what? We've been virtually learning. So if there are no buses, guess what? You're going to be virtual learning. And, you know, for families, it's been a brand new mindset. For the students, it's been a brand new mindset. And I'm sure you as an educator have seen the effects of trying to learn through a computer and I guess trying to get a new mindset in how to learn through this process.
For sure, I've been quite focused on some of the younger kids that are doing online learning, and I mean that has a lot of challenges. But kind of recently, I've had experiences with high school students, and particularly in the Uxbridge area, maybe all of Durham. They're on these quadmesters, so the amount of time they have to take up the material is very short. And they're doing like a blended, some of them are going into class for a little while and then they're home for a while, or they're just all at home and navigating the classrooms. They're using Teams now, Microsoft Teams, and using Google Classroom. I mean, just staying organized is nearly impossible.
Well, we were joking, right, Scott? We were joking before we came on the air about I fired my own secretary because I am my own secretary, and that's just on my level. I can't imagine trying to be a student who's never done anything like this before and trying to keep your life organized.
But I get that. I've dealt with your secretary.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that was the last time I fired myself, so I forgot to call you. Yeah.
Well, do you think that there's an advantage or disadvantage to this quadmester thing? Like I know with Jacob, he did. He just finished his first quadmester, but it seemed to almost keep him a little bit more focused because it was a shorter amount of time that he was spending on a subject. But you're seeing it the other way, that they're a little bit more crammed.
No, you want to know what? I think it probably depends on the content and probably depends on the student. I think if they're on top of things and they're organized and moving through the material is probably not a problem. I think where it could become a problem is maybe with kids that are struggling a little bit or have missed a little bit of the previous skills, because they used to get a really long lead of review. And that review time is very, very short. And some of the students are just getting a response of, well, these are things you should know already. And then they're just kind of left on their own to try to do that catch-up.
Is it affected by the type of learner that you are, or is it just the case that if you're learning virtually, that the type of learner that you are, you're already affected? As in the way you process
a real
information.
Blend of both.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're lacking organizational skills, it's going to be more difficult. So, you know, I think some kind of blend of parents and kids and trying to keep on top of things. But a lot of kids, they won't even share their Google Classroom or the itineraries of the way things are running down with their parents because they have their own passwords and everything and don't necessarily give their parents full access.
Right, which makes it difficult to try and help if that help is not being requested.
Yeah,
now,
for sure.
Do you find that you have people coming in because they are missing that one-on-one, if they are doing more virtual than going into the classroom, that they need that as part of the way they learn?
That's kind of the nature of my business because we're always one-on-one. We have that advantage right away, and parents, and normally they'll have already seen that in their child, and that's why they're coming to us. But I think there's a big advantage to having one-on-one. They get your full attention. They get their questions answered immediately.
Well, here, without drawing Scott too much into his conversation about his son, but you mentioned this, that sometimes kids are trying to keep things, to themselves privately, and they've got their own passwords and things like that. Do you find that in some cases they may be coming to you, or the parents have kind of directed them to come to you, and they're opening up where they wouldn't necessarily open up with their parents?
Yep. Because I'll ask them about those kinds of things. I'm working with one student who he actually gives me access where he still won't give it to his parents. So I kind of filter through everything and try to keep him on top of things. And he's a lot more candid with me than he is with his parents.
How old is that student? Is he like high school too?
He's high school, yeah.
Yeah, so mine, he's been pretty forthright. He's like, I don't check out his Google Classroom all the time, but he had really good teachers last quadrimester. So the one in particular would send emails and just saying, okay, just so you know, these assignments are due. And so it sort of helped us because we were on top of our kid and going, okay, have you handed in all your stuff? So I don't think he was, knowing him, I don't think he was really secretive or trying to hide anything. It was just, typical teenager. And how was your day? It was okay. What'd you learn? Stuff like that.
Well, this is true. And I think teachers, they were on a big learning curve as well with everyone else, and they've kind of picked it up, and I've seen a lot more better organization in the virtual world anyway, in their Google Classrooms and the way they stack information and assignments in the Google Classroom.
Right. Well, let me open up the door wide here and ask you the real simple question to answer, and that is, how do you teach time management?
Well, it can be as simple as getting yourself a timer. Parents know their kids best and their attention span. So, you can do something as simple as, having a set time to be doing schoolwork. You could set a timer to keep them on task, even for 10 minutes, and then they get a break. If they turn away from their work or they go away from it, then you stop the timer. But they've got to be able to work for maybe even 10 minutes and then stretch it to 15 minutes. And then they get to totally stop, get a drink, have a snack, watch some TV, but then right back to it until what they're doing is finished.
Right. How long do you spend with a student? And is it just on one subject?
We'll do, if we have someone coming in for an hour, we can do one, maybe two things. But parents almost always are astounded that I can have their child sitting in a seat for an hour, practicing reading, doing math facts, or doing quadratic equations like I was last night, which was great fun.
My eyes are rolling, by the way.
Did you?
Well, I had to come home and have a couple of Advil.
Yeah, math wasn't one of my better subjects. You were saying, Scott?
So when you're working with a student, is it mostly on homework, or is it like just building up their skills?
I'm doing mostly improving skills. They've come to me because there's something lacking. So, I can have 5 and 6 year olds on task for 45 minutes to an hour. Kind of typically when we reach that 45-minute mark, I'll switch up the task. So we'll go on the computer and do math facts because they kind of look forward to doing that rather than focusing on reading. And I'll give them breaks. So I always give them a place where we'll work to. And when we reach that spot, we get to stop and do something they want to do for like a minute, 2 minutes even, and then back to it. And I'll show them, okay, well, we'll go to this page, and then we can have another break. So if I give them a goal, they can typically work to that goal, and they're happy because they know that they're going to have a little break. And then I just start stretching that out and stretching it out until they're sitting the whole hour and they don't need any break.
So I just want to wrap up. We were talking about how do you teach time management, and I was joking about it. But the bottom line is starting with that timer. So being the kids and technology now, we kind of think about a paper timer thing, but that could be anything in a phone app or anything like that.
Oh, yeah. You can use your timers. Actually, there's a great Tabata timer. You can actually set intervals and break intervals and all that kind of thing. Normally people might use it for working out, but there would be lots of other uses for that.
Right. Well, keep up the good work. It's obviously we're going to continue with this. We've heard word about a vaccine today in Britain, but we're a long way away from everyone being vaccinated, and it sounds like 2021's certainly going to start off the way we've had 2020, and we've got to keep rolling with the punches, and I guess that's where we're at, right, Wally?
Yeah, it seems like it. I was listening to the news this morning, and I think the whole school year is probably going to play out this way. And hopefully the next school year things will be a little more normal, but that remains to be seen.
But meanwhile, I think we've made some positive changes. Jennifer's teaching music, and she goes and she says, she's sterilizing her keyboards and stuff, and we're doing much more cleaning even at the martial arts school than what we normally were doing before. And we're looking at each other going, why weren't we doing this before COVID? We were clean, but there's definitely precautions that we've taken now where we're going, why weren't we doing this? And it's something like this conversation where you're talking about time management, and you're talking about timers and setting up a time for a break and trying to increase your workload. You got me going. I'm going to
well, we didn't think we had time to do all of these things, and now you're fitting it into the regimen, and now it just becomes habitual, and it's just part of the day, and you've got the same amount of time to work with, and now you're getting more done.
Yeah, no, exactly. And rolling with the punches and learning how to pivot. Wally, thanks for your time this morning.
You're welcome.
And if someone is interested, how can they contact you at North Durham Precision
they
Learning?
Call us at the center at 905-852-0527 or send an email to northdurhamplc@gmail.com.
Listen, we want to thank you for your time this morning.
You're welcome.
Take care. Scott, stay well.
Dan, I'll talk to your secretary later today if you don't fire him by then.
Exactly.
He always hires them back.
Well, yeah, it's been a minute-to-minute basis lately. So thanks, guys. We'll be back again for Wellness Wednesday next week. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That is Wally Blacklock. Again, you can get a hold of him at North Durham Precision Learning Center. That's at 29 Toronto Street. And Scott Campsall from Okamikai.